Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumaz. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Wednesday in Algiers the Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs of the French Republic, Jean-Yves Le Drian, who is on a working visit to Algeria. In the economic sector, improvement are important events that occurred in 2021 concerning this field for being one of the sectors that the President of the Republic insisted on since the beginning of this mandate, with an aim to change Algeria's course. Over 50 public and private Algerian enterprises are taking part in the 29th edition of the International Fair in Dakar, Senegal, taking place from the 7th until the 20th of the current month. Starting from the 9th of December, students of different levels will be on vacation, a decision taken by the Ministry of Education to allow teachers, students, as well as the administrative staff to be vaccinated. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Wednesday in Algiers the Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs of the French Republic, Jean-Yves Le Drian, who is on a working visit to Algeria. The audience took place at the headquarters of the Presidency of the Republic in the presence of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister Ramtan Al-Mamra. At the end of this audience, the head of the French diplomacy made this statement. Let's listen.
J'ai eu le plaisir et l'honneur de m'entretenir longuement.
It was a pleasure and an honor to have a long meeting with the President Tebboune and with my counterpart, Mr. Al-Mamra, and I would like to thank them for their warm welcome. It was important to Algeria for a working visit and to evaluate the bilateral relationship. This trip has a double objective: to renew a relationship of trust between our two countries, a relationship marked by respect for the sovereignty of each, but also to look to the future to work on the relaunch and deepening of our partnership, which is essential. France and Algeria have deep ties, animated by the density of human relations between Algerians and French and rooted in a complex history. I express the wish to work on removing the blockages and misunderstandings that may exist between our two countries, and during our exchanges, we agreed to resume a certain number of cooperations. This will be reflected in the resumption of operational dialogue between partners on human and migration issues. It will also mean the resumption of an operational dialogue on against terrorism. It will also be reflected in our joint efforts to ensure the security of our two countries. We hope that the dialogue we are relaunching today will lead to a resumption of political exchanges between our governments in 2022. Beyond the wounds of the past that we must face up, beyond the misunderstandings that we must overcome, I hope that our two countries will together resume the path of a partnership that can look to the future. I want to reiterate that Algeria is an essential partner for France on a bilateral level, but also on a regional one. We continue to coordinate our diplomatic initiative to promote the political transition process in Libya following the Paris conference, which Mr. Al-Mamra presented President Tebboune. We also took stock of the situation in Mali, where Algeria plays an important role, and Algeria's commitment to the implementation of the Peace and Reconciliation Agreement is an essential element of the peace process in Mali. France and Algeria are facing challenges together in an uncertain regional and international environment. We must be able to propose operational responses to the terrorism in the Sahel region, but also to illegal immigration and to economic development issues. For all these subjects, and we're all interested in our dialogue is essential, and that is why I am in Algiers.
Concertation est primordiale. C'est le sens de ma présence aujourd'hui à Alger. Je vous remercie.
Foreign Affairs and National Community Ramtan Al-Mamra met in Algiers with his French counterpart Jean-Yves Le Drian, who is on a working visit to relations in Algeria. The Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs of the French Republic will be received in the Republic. With the authorization of the President of the Republic, Algeria will contribute to the sixth general capital increase of the Islamic Development Bank with 40,000.68 shares, according to the presidential decree published in the issue 90 of the Official Gazette. Prime Minister of Finance Ayman bin Abdurrahman chaired a government meeting during its weekly meeting. The government discussed the following items: the field of justice, a draft organic law that defines the modalities for the election of the members of the Supreme Council of the Judiciary and its rules of organization and operation was studied. This comes as a decision to the communication or the dedication of the commitments of the President of the Republic to carry out a comprehensive and profound reforms of the justice system and to affirm independence, which is granted by the Superior Council of the Judiciary. In the field of the interior local authorities and town planning, a draft executive decree has been tabled concerning the numbering of vehicles, which provides measures to develop and integrate national road traffic policy and to provide precise statistics that will enable the public authorities to draw up clear and targeted national policies. In the field of housing and the city, a draft executive decree was submitted specifying the conditions of implementation of completed buildings or those under construction that does not comply with the building permit issue. In this respect, a procedure was established that allows the adjustment of the status of the mentioned building. In the field of agriculture, the Minister of the sector made a presentation on the process related to the rehabilitation, expansion and development of the Green Dam, in which a joint ministerial committee will be formed on the work of reviving the strategic national project of agrarina management and ecological. In the field of public works, the Minister of the sector made a presentation on the designation of the capital, where he discussed the projects that would reduce traffic congestion on the two main axes of the East Highway and the South Ring Road. An evaluation presentation was also made on the state of the progress of the project undertaken over the last 2 months. In the framework of the fight against terrorism and acts of sabotage that targets the security and stability of our country, the National Gendarmerie of Oran, the second military camp, succeeded in dismantling a terrorist cell operating for the benefit of the Rashad terrorist organization. This qualitative organization or operation led to arrest 9 people, including dangerous elements, and their presentation to the public prosecutor at the Cadel court in Oran, who ordered the prevention of the decision of detention of 6 of them, and 3 others were placed under judicial supervision. The arrested persons are prosecuted for involvement in a terrorist organization that targets state security, institutional stability, the use of information and communication technologies to recruit support for the criminal acts for this organization, and the dissemination of its extremism ideas that would harm the higher interest of the national defense. This operation is part of the continuous efforts deplored by the competent interests of the National People's Army to cut off all means of supporting terrorism and organized crime in its various forms, and to ensure the security and stability of our country and the protection of our national unity. Moving on into the economic sector, precisely its revival, we will look back at the important events that occurred on 2021 concerning this field, for being one of the sectors that the President of the Republic insists on since the beginning of its mandate, with an aim to change Algeria's course. The details Melissa Kubash.
Following the economic recovery plan put in place by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, which includes important instructions and guidelines, the political will continues to increase with an aim to accelerate economic recovery through a series of deep reforms, which for their part enabled positive indicators registered this year with a growth rate exceeding 6% and more than $4 billion in imports, excluding hydrocarbons. President Tebboune affirmed that the state will accompany investors with an aim to export more than $5 billion before the end of the current year.
سنعمل جادين معكم ومعكن على أن نحقق هذا الاتفاق تاع بالأقل نهاية 21 نوصل إلى تصدير ما يقارب 5 ملايير دولار اللي يخلينا نتراجع نوعا ما من السيطرة نتاع النفط على الاقتصاد الوطني.
The President of the Republic stated as well that for the first time in 20 years, Algeria exported more than $1 billion outside hydrocarbons.
لأول مرة منذ ما يفوق 20 سنة تجاوزنا مرحلة تصدير نتاع مليار و800 مليون مليار و900 مليون دولار خارج المحروقات. إن شاء الله ننتهي السنة ملاير أو 4 ملاير ونصف كتصدير وطني خارج المحروقات.
In order to ensure an economic transition based on a local diversified investment, excluding hydrocarbons, several operational measures must be executed according to the President of the Republic. The President also called on for the unification of efforts to build a strong economy based on the spirit of patriotism, recalling the necessity of a strong national economy.
في بعض المواد اللي ننتجها هنا ما نخليهاش تدخل. راني نحوس على اقتصاد وطني. اون ايكونومي باتريوتيك وطنيه، نقوي الشيء اللي ننتجو، بالعكس لا يقول لك انا ما نلبيش طلبات كلها تاع البلاد، اعطيه واش خصك؟ قال خصني نوسع المصنع نتاعي، اعطيه باش يوسع المصنع تاعو. اولويات الاولويات سنه 2022 الا اقتصاديه محضه.
A new economic approach based on changing the growth model by moving from a rent-based economy to a knowledge economy, which gives priority to investment and the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, as well as startups.
We need to include small and medium enterprises because we need more than 1 million enterprises. But thanks to the new law of investment, several operations will be facilitated.
And to revive the economic sector, a new law of investment will come into effect in 2022 with promising prospects, ensuring growth in an investment environment free from all administrative barriers.
Over 50 public and private Algerian enterprises are taking part in the 29th edition of the International Fair in Dakar, Senegal, taking place from the 7th until the 20th of the current month. These enterprises aim to build bridges for an African continental free trade area and boost a new non-hydrocarbon export dynamic. Manal Ammari has the details.
Entering the African market with opportunities worth billions of dollars to be seized is the aim of the 50 Algerian companies currently exhibiting their products in the Dakar International Fair. Both public and private companies from various sectors, namely the food industry, agricultural products, construction materials, as well as the transport and service sector, are taking part in this event.
We are an Algerian company specialized in the production of candies. We started with peanuts, but now we make a variety of sweets. We're participating in this fair to introduce our products in Africa, bearing in mind that we're already exporting to a few countries such as Mali and Libya. Our participation in this fair comes within the framework of promoting the export of Algerian products outside of hydrocarbons.
The participation of Algerian companies and businesses is built around a strategy aiming to boost a new dynamic of exports Africa, while benefiting from tax and custom exemptions.
Algerian products are well received by the Senegalese people. Senegalese Commerce Minister visited us on the first day, and I believe that this will be a success for us, since Algeria will join the African Continental Free Trade Zone.
All the participants in this fair affirm that Algerian products occupy an important place in the African market. Participants and the exhibitors are searching for partnership opportunities, in particular with the entry into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Starting from the 9th of December, students of different levels will be on vacation, a decision taken by the Ministry of Education to allow teachers, students, as well as the administrative staff to be vaccinated. Melissa Kabash.
Several cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in the last few days in several schools, which led to the suspension of classes in many provinces. But luckily, winter holidays are set from Thursday, December 9th to Saturday, January the 1st.
I think it's a good thing. It will encourage people to get inoculated. The teachers, the principal, and the pupils must be vaccinated so that the lessons could be resumed faster.
The Ministry of National Education has called on the teaching staff without exception to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus.
This decision comes at the right time. These holidays will allow students to revise their courses, especially those who pass the middle school certificate.
This is an opportunity for teachers who have not yet been vaccinated to head to vaccination centers. These vacations will allow us to get immunized. It is very beneficial for us as well as our parents.
A vast vaccination campaign will be organized from the 12th to the 16th of December across all schools in coordination with the Ministry of Health.
Speaking at the 45th Conference of the Heads of Arab Police and Security Agencies held in Tunis and organized by the General Secretariat of the Council of Arab Ministers of the Interior, Director General of the National Security DGSN, Farid Ben Sheikh, called on Wednesday in Tunis the joint efforts of the Arab police agencies to face all forms of organized crime. The DGSN recalled during this meeting, which saw the participation of police leaders and representatives of the international and regional police bodies, that cyber threats are now among the main challenges facing the countries and police institutions, hence the importance of unifying efforts and mobilizing all energies in the fight and prevention. On the sidelines of the conference, the DGSN held a series of talks with their counterparts from the various Arab countries on ways to strengthen police cooperation in various fields. Within the dynamics of the continuous efforts to fight against terrorism and organized crime, units of the National People's Army carried out from the 1st until the 7th of the current month several operations leading to quality results, reflecting the high professionalism, vigilance, and permanent availability of our armed forces throughout the national territory. More details with Manal Amari.
As part of the fight against terrorism, detachments of the National People's Army have arrested 27 supporting members for terrorist groups in separate operations across the national territory. In the context of operations to fight against organized crime and in the dynamics of intense efforts to thwart the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the National People's Army have stopped in coordination with various security services in the country at the level of the territories of the 2nd and 3rd military regions 20 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce quantities of drugs via the borders with Morocco, amounting to 4 quintals and 76 kilograms of cannabis, while 23 other drug traffickers were arrested with 108 kilograms of the same substance in their possession, in addition to 50,255 psychotropic tablets seized in various operations carried out across the other military regions. Furthermore, detachments of the National People's Army intercepted in Tamnasat, Ain Gizam, Burj Baji Mukhtar, Janet, and Tindouf 223 individuals, and seized 14 vehicles, 370 generators, 155 jackhammers, quantities of explosive, detonation tools and other equipment used in illicit gold mining operations, as well as 56.5 quintals of a mixture of raw gold and stones, while 13 other individuals were arrested. 15 hunting rifles, 40 tons of foodstuffs intended for smuggling, and 5,530 units of various beverages were seized in Batna, Tiaret, Ain Timushint, Lagwat, and Ain Gizam. Similarly, the border guards thwarted attempts to smuggle quantities of fuel amounting to 12,062 liters in Taman Raset, Bissa, Al-Taraf, and Suqahras. In another context, the Coast Guard foiled in Iran attempts at illegal immigration of 27 individuals on board of craft-built boats, while 471 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were apprehended in Janet, Ain Aminas, Tlemcen, Tibissa, and Al-Wad.
Abbas Zaki, member of the Fatah Movement Central Committee, said that he was optimistic about the holding of an inclusive conference in Algiers, bringing together all Palestinian parties, saying that this event will allow process towards the achievement of Palestinian national unity, now necessary to face the wave of normalization with the Zionist entity. The Palestinian leader said that the Palestinian unity is imperative to enable Algeria to confront those who have turned away from the Palestinian issue and prohibit the Zionist entity from imposing itself in the African continent, which has always supported the Palestinian cause. In Morocco, demonstrations continue in many cities against the critical economic and social situation, in addition to the security agreements held in the Zionist entity. Leticia Sadqawi.
Moroccan cities such as Tanger, Rabat, and Casablanca, protesters continue to be arrested, and some are prosecuted for participating in an unauthorized gathering. These cities have known these protest movements for weeks. Social professional rights, respect for human rights and public freedoms, but above all to denounce the recent visit of the Zionist defense minister. This comes in time when the Makhzen is bragging about the normalization of its relations and the signing of security agreements with the Zionist entity. The Moroccan people are enduring a critical economic situation characterized by the degradation of its purchasing power due to an unprecedented surge in the prices of basic consumer products, leading to a rise in popular protests. This critical, tragic current social situation is because of the king's dominance over the economy, the wealth in general, whether it's underground, in the land, the sea, or the air. The Moroccan citizen is living an extraordinary crisis that he cannot even speak about because he lost all trust in everything, the organizations, the regime, the government, the political parties. The Moroccan citizen has reached rock bottom. The social situation needs a whole separate file. Regarding the normalization with the Zionist occupation, this doesn't serve the benefit of the Moroccan people, the neighbor countries of the whole Maghreb region. This normalization is based on bad intentions, on treason, and on injustice. These people want to turn the region into a bloodbath because of armed dealers, gangs with the royal system, and this said system is forced on Moroccans with no one to speak up. Facing the cries of distress of its people over the deplorable socio-economic reality in Morocco and the many organizations denouncing the lack of dialogue, the Makhzen continues to strengthen its alliance with the Zionist entity on all levels, ignoring all these calls. On their side, the organizations having called on the population to participate in this movement against normalizations believe that the security agreement signed between the two countries constitutes a certain danger, not only for Morocco but for the entire region as well. According to Moroccan economists, internal tensions in Morocco are likely to worsen over time because of the lack of a prospect of economic and social improvement in the horizon, tensions that normalizations will only exacerbate.
The Association of the Monitoring of the Resources of the Protection of the Environment in Western Sahara has held the United Nations fully responsible for the crimes committed by the Moroccan occupation authorities against the Sahrawi people, including human rights defenders, including Sultana Khaya. AREN denounces the continuous of the series of rapes and torture of Sultana Khaya and her family. Moreover, the occupation forces attacked a peaceful demonstration of Sahrawi women in occupied La'youn, organized in solidarity with Sultana Khaya. The association also calls on the International Red Cross to take responsibility for what the Moroccan occupation has done since the resumption of the war in Western Sahara. Units of the Sahrawi People's Liberation Army SPLA carried out on Tuesday new attacks against the position of the Moroccan occupying forces all along the Wall of Shame in the Awsir sector, in addition to the bombing of the 18th and the 5th bases of the occupying army in the Awsir sector. SPLA units shelled the entrenchments sites of the Moroccan occupation forces in Al Mahbas sector. On Monday, advanced detachments of the Sahrawi army targeted sites of the Moroccan forces in Al Mahbas and Al Bakari sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for our news edition. Thanks for tuning in to our program. Good night.